right. So as we move through practice today, I just want to start off by saying that everything we do is a suggestion and offering. You are obviously the expert on your own body, so please listen to yourself more than you listen to me. If your body's telling you to rest or take a break or not do something or modify something or make something harder, please listen to that and make this practice in this next hour your own for yourself. And hopefully you feel a little bit better on the other side than we feel right now. So let's just start right away by just sitting tall. You can rest your hands onto your legs. You can sit kneeling if cross-legged isn't your favorite. And then we'll bring the eyes closed, or you can just gaze out into the floor in front of you. You don't even have to close your eyes if you don't want to. And we'll just take a moment to settle here, to let your body land into your space for your practice. And this idea of the breath as the bridge from the outer to the inner, and the outer experience to the inner experience, and then back out again. And see if you can use your breath here to tell you something about how you're doing, to really check in. On this hot, sunny evening, what are you feeling? And those might be physical feelings, they might be more mental or emotional feelings. There's no wrong answers. You're just checking in, like taking notes almost. And let's bring hands together in front of the heart. You can lightly rest your thumbs onto your chest. And let's start by sharing 2 deep breaths together. We'll breathe in through the nose with an audible exhale on the breath out. You're welcome to make that as loud or as soft as feels nice. And let's start just by exhaling to prepare. And welcome a deep breath in. Breathe all the way down to the bottom of your lungs. And then open your mouth and exhale, big sigh. One more time, breathe in. And let something go. Gently bowing your chin to your chest, just coming back to your natural breath. You can release your hands. And then if your eyes are closed, you'll gently blink them open. All right, welcome. So we'll start today in hands and knees. You can come on forward into tabletop. Pad your knees, of course, as you need to. And let's do this tabletop today with the toes tucked underneath. Feel your knees right underneath your hips and your wrists under your outer shoulders. And try to flatten your fingers all the way down. So it's not just like the inner fingers, but like the edges of every finger can press down. So you have a really strong, solid connection to the earth. And then we'll move through cat and cow here. So when you breathe in, send your tailbone back. Look forward with your chest and your face. And then exhale, scoop your belly around your spine towards the sky. Look to your thighs. And just back and forth like this, still continuing that action of like checking in, right? Just seeing how your spine feels, what it's like to move your breath and your body together. And just take it nice and easy here. You're not maxing out your flexibility, but just a gentle sense of kind of oiling up the spine. Just getting it supple and ready to move deeper as we warm up. Just one more round like this. And then you can start to move in any other ways that feel good. So circle your hips around your head. Just move free form. Feeling maybe like you just woke up or a little like sneaky feeling in the spine. And then let's make our way into downward facing dog from here. So downward dog is a little longer than your tabletop. You can walk your hands forward. Keep those toes tucked and stretch your hips up and back behind so you make this V shape in the body. Bend your knees so you can really reach your tailbone up and back behind you. So it's more up than back. And just take a couple breaths here. Waking up the shoulders a bit, getting into the backs of the legs, bending your knees generously and wide out with the knees. to make a little more space. And just take a couple deep breaths here, pressing the outer edges of every finger down, but relaxing your jaw and your shoulders. And then go a little softer in the knees and look forward and just walk your feet all the way up to your hands. Pass through a little forward fold, come all the way up to stand. Stretch your arms up overhead. And then exhale, release your arms down by your sides. And we'll just do that a couple more times. So inhale, reach your arms up, keep your palms pointed forward. And then exhale, reach them down. So same kind of idea. We're just kind of moving the shoulders a bit. Inhaling to lift the arms and exhaling to let them go. Grow a little taller. 2 more. Nice. Grow a little taller. And then this next time when the arms come down, you're gonna fold forward again. So bend your knees and lay your chest onto your legs. Really bend the knees so you can let your whole spine go. Even if you feel like you're squatting. Just take a couple of breaths here. Maybe opening your mouth to exhale. And then let's step back with just the left leg to come into a lunge. So you can lean a little weight into your hands, step your left leg back, wiggle it way back. And then see that your right knee is on top of your right ankle. It's not going in front, it's not behind. And then you can climb your hands up to your hips to lift your chest. A little high lunge to start. Your back leg can have a little bend to it to take some of the edge off the stretch if it's a little too deep right away. But try to deeply bend that front leg so the knee, again, finds right over the ankle. And then bring your hands up to your ribs. So it's like you're holding your hips, but you're holding your ribs. So you have the thumbs in the back and the fingers in the front. See if you can lift up in your thumbs, like you're trying to pick your back ribs up. Engage your belly to support that. And then stretch your arms overhead. So it's almost like you're fighting the back bend by strengthening the abs in the front. Sink the hips low. Big breaths, wide side to side, like your ribs could expand out, like accordion out when you breathe in. Exhale, sink a little lower. Stretch your front knee and back heel away from each other, front to back. And I'll keep the legs as they are. Bring just your left hand down to the floor to get a little twist in your chest to the right. You can definitely drop that back knee if the legs are getting too tired here. See if you can feel that same stretchiness, front knee and back heel, like they could lengthen away from each other in a way that might not actually change what the shape is, but really changes what you feel inside. Take another exploratory breath, really checking in. And then bring your right hand down to the floor and step forward to switch sides. You can do one step or many, just drag that left foot in, send your right foot back. Take your time. Moving in a way that is loving and not demanding of your body. Take your time to come up. Find left knee on top of your ankle for that stability in the front leg. The back leg can be a little bent, but make the muscles really strong around the thigh. And then bring your hands up to your ribs again. We'll do that same thing. So you can feel a lift in the back ribs, almost like you're gonna round forward, but you don't go quite that far. And then get really strong in the front of the belly to hold it as the arms go up. Try to smooth out your breath here. Bringing the outer experience, what you see, hear, smell, feel. Bringing that in through the pathway of your breath. Really digesting this moment. And we'll stay here in the legs to bring the right hand down to the ground. Take a little twist of your chest to the left. Hello. See if you can keep that feeling, that sense that the front knee and back heel are stretching away from each other. It might not be something that someone from the outside could see, but it's something that you feel inside. It's your internal work here. Big reach up through that left hand. And then let's lower both hands down, step back into a plank pose. So it's like you're at the top of a push-up. Now we're gonna hold this for a couple breaths. So if you wanna put one or both knees down to take the edge off, go for it. Listen to yourself. Try to feel like your hands could slide towards each other. Squeeze your hands in, and then draw your lowest ribs, those floating ribs, up towards your spine just a little bit. One more inhale here. And then you can lower your knees first if you need to. Bend the elbows, lower your chest lightly to the floor. Point your toes and do a little cobra back bend. Coil your shoulders, your upper chest up off of the ground, looking straight ahead. One more inhale. Exhale, release. Tuck your toes in with a strong center. Head on back to either tabletop or downward facing dog. Just something that feels like a rest, like a neutral place. It doesn't have to be downward dog. You can totally hang out in child's pose or tabletop. Just take a second to bring your attention back to your breath, to really feel the palm print against the mat, against the ground, toes against the ground. And then let's look forward, soften the knees, walk, or if you'd like to, hop your feet to the front of your space. Feet a couple inches apart from each other, bend your knees and rest your chest on your legs, same thing. So the legs are strong here. Push your feet down. Feel like your outer hips could lift up, but then let your whole torso pour out of the pelvis. So your low back lets go, your mid back lets go, your upper back, your neck, and even like the back of your head could drip towards the floor. One more inhale. Open your mouth to exhale. And then inhale, come all the way up. Reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, arms down by your sides. Okay, let's bring the feet all the way together. And then we'll bring the arms into an eagle setup. So arms will go out to the side, and I'll give you a ton of options here. The first option is to give yourself a hug. Bring your right arm underneath your left and hug. The next option is to keep the elbows crossed, backs of the hands together. Or deepest option, wrap all the way around so your palms come towards each other. So choose your variation. See if you can lift your elbows up and drop your ribs down in the front. Press your hands into whatever it is they're touching, and then take a big breath in. Get a little taller in your spine. Good. And then lean your torso to your right. So towards your bottom arm, the bottom arm side. Kick your hips off center, away from you. So the hips go to the left, and then lift your elbows. Drop your ribs down in front. Inhale to come up. Sweep your arms down and up. Just take a second, both arms reach high. Good, and then left arm underneath. Choose your version. Hug, backs of hands or palms. Lift your elbows up, but drop your ribs down. Press your hands into whatever it is they're touching. And then take a big breath in. Tall spine. Exhale, fold straight side to your left. Nice. Press the hips off to the right, almost like you could fall to the right. It really helps to counterbalance the side bend. And then press your hands into whatever it is they're touching. One more big, generous breath into that top side. Nice. Inhale, come up, sweep your arms down and up, big reach. And then exhale, arms down by your sides. Shake out your shoulders. Grab a sip of water if you need before we set up our next thing. I meant to say, if you have any questions about a pose or anything that we're doing, you can feel free to unmute yourself or type into the chat. I'll try to keep my eye on it. I know it's easy to feel like when we're practicing live, like we're practicing with the video, but I'm here, I'm real. You can totally interact with me if you have questions. Okay, so we're gonna come to a wide leg stance now here. So if you're on a mat, you can face to the long side of your mat. And then whichever way your chest is facing, we'll call that front, and then we'll have sides going out to the side. I know it gets a little confusing sometimes. So turn all of your toes straight front, and then bring your hands to your hips. Bend your knees a little bit. Point your knees a bit out without your feet moving, and then hinge at your hips to bring your hands to the ground. So it's a similar feeling to what we did when the legs were together, but now we're folded forward. As the knees bend, it creates more space for your low back to release. So don't worry about like trying to get the legs straighter in this one. It's more about relaxing the spine. Kind of radically shifting things as you put your hips higher than your head and seeing how gravity can just help extend and release those strong and tight muscles in the back. One more breath here. Open your mouth to exhale. Soften the muscles of the neck as you do. And then bring your hands up to your hips. Point your elbows up towards the sky. Bring your spine like parallel to the floor. Yeah, bend the knees a bit so you can really reach the booty back. Squeeze the outer hips in and draw the ribs towards the spine. So you're getting like, feeling like plank pose here, but not quite. Push your toes down a little more and inhale, come up, reach your arms overhead, straighten your legs, and release your arms down. Nice. All right, let's turn the right toes out and find warrior two. So the right toes will go straight to the side. Your left toes are still pointed straight ahead. And then bend your right knee. Let's bring the arms into this cactus shape. Cool. Sit your hips low. Flatten your feet down. Don't fight the floor. Let your feet really meet the floor graciously. And then stretch your knees side to side away from each other. Again, something no one might be able to really see, but I bet you can feel. Now press the backs of your hands back a bit. Yeah, to help open up the front of the chest. And then keep that feeling, like hands pressing back, how it opened the shoulders. Awesome. And then bring the arms out, palms up, like you're holding two basketballs. Nice. Spread all of your fingers, like there's laser beams out of every finger. Reach out. And away from that reach, sink the hips another inch lower. Look out over your right palm and see how much you can smooth your breath. Keep your legs just this strong. Bring your left hand down and do a side bend, reverse warrior towards your back straight leg. Nice. Bringing that arm nice and tight towards the ear. Bend your front knee straight forward. Sending your inhales into that right side of the body, like your ribs could stretch between every rib. And then let's inhale to come up. Straighten the leg, thank goodness. And then we'll turn the right toes in, all the way forward, and then the left toes out. We'll do the same thing to the other side. So take a second and really feel, okay, you got steady feet against the ground, you bend your left knee, it's right on top of the ankle. And then see if you can let the legs settle, the feet settle, and the knees feel like they stretch away from each other, side to side, arms to cactus. Feeling strong in the belly, so you're not letting yourself like overextend into a back bend. Press your elbows forward and your hands slightly back. I find that helps to open the chest in a really gentle and sweet way. And then bring your arms out, palms up. You can look out over the left hand. Really spread your fingers wide, like you're trying to stretch the webbing between every finger. And then laser beams out the fingers without tightening up the neck. Relax the shoulders, just stretch. Good. Smooth and steady in your breath. And then the legs will stay just this strong. Bring your right hand down. Reverse warrior, stretch towards the back leg. Keep that front knee bending straight out. So it's not knocking in at all. And then big breath into the left side. Stretching every muscle between every rib. And then let's inhale to rise all the way up, straighten the leg. Cool. Okay, let's go back to the first side. So turn your left toes in, right toes out, and we'll set up side angle this time. So bend the knee again, bring your right elbow down. And then reach your left arm in front of you, palm towards the ground. Slot your shoulder back. So it's like you're kind of shrugging your shoulder straight back so your hand slides more towards you. And then sweep your arm low across your ear like you're trying to brush hair off your face. Exactly. Push your feet down and apart from each other. And then see how long can you make that line through the top side. Gently, gently spin your ribs, your belly, your heart towards the sky, maybe even peek up underneath that arm. Smooth and steady breath, bringing the outer experience in, really living in this moment. And then we'll inhale to rise. You can straighten that front leg. And we'll come into a triangle pose. So the legs will stay just as they are. It's a two straight leg pose. Press your feet down and apart from each other. And then do like a little sassy hip. Send your hip towards your back leg, towards the left. Reach way forward with the right hand and then bring your fingertips down and hold onto your shin or your ankle. Or if you have a block or a prop, you want to put it outside your leg, you can put your hand down. If you're holding onto your leg, hold on real tight and then pick up like you're trying to pick your foot up off the ground. Notice how that kind of turns on the muscles of the belly. Reach up a little more. Feel how there's this balance of strength and stretch. Nice. Stay present as we soften that front knee, come all the way up, release your arms, and we'll go to the other side. Right toes all the way forward, left toes out to find side angle. Nice and long in your stance, bend the knee, rest your elbow down onto your knee, and then reach your right arm forward, palm points towards the ground. Nice, push your feet down and apart so your legs are in the game and they stay that way. Shrug your shoulders straight back. So like slide your right shoulder back and then keep it back as you sweep your arm low across your face. Good. And then once you're here, get established in your breath. Trying to find your steady rhythm, your own personal cadence. The one that feels the best. That doesn't feel like you're shortening it, but it also doesn't feel like you're overextending it. Just the perfect inhale and perfect exhale. One more big breath here. Make it count. Get that big reach. And then we'll come all the way up. Straighten that leg to set up triangle. 2 straight legs. They push down and apart again. So you got strong muscles in the lower body. And then sassy hip to the right. Reach to the left. Bring your hand down to earth, block, or body. If you're holding onto your body, I think this is actually maybe my favorite way to do triangle, even though sometimes the block is nice. Hold onto your foot, your ankle, and then pick it up like you're trying to pick it up off the ground. Notice what that does for the abs, for that side body. And then see if you can bask. Find the balance between all this effort and then layer on some ease in your breath. Last big breath here. Make it count for you. And then soften that front knee. Come all the way up. Release your arms. We'll do one more forward fold. My legs got really wide, so you can bring them a little closer together. Toes straight ahead. You can do the same thing we did before, hands on the ground, or offer interlace. You can bring your hands to your low back, palm to palm. Shrug your shoulders up and back if you're in the interlace, and lift your hands off of your hips. Go as wide in your hands as you need to find that. Take a big breath in here, look up, lift your heart, and then bend those knees a bit, hinge at the hips, tip yourself forward. Same as before, feel free to bend the knees to let your spine dangle and drop forward. And then let your shoulders fall towards your ears. Squeeze the shoulder blades together a little more, like you're trying to reach the knuckles straight out from that middle back. Relax your head, even your face. Let your cheeks fall towards your eyes. One more inhale. Open your mouth to exhale and release your hands if they're bound. And then find the front of your space, wherever that is. For me, I'm walking around to the right. Just kind of pivot around through like a lunge to go back to downward dog or tabletop. And come back to a neutral place. Steady breath, heavy hands. Let your feet melt into the floor. Stay either right here, or we'll do a joining vinyasa where we'll inhale to find plank pose. Exhale to bend the arms, lower all the way down. Point the toes and do cobra or upward facing dog if you prefer. And then send it back, downward dog. Gently breathing. Okay, one more time. Let's all do this. Inhale to plank pose. And then exhale to lower strongly down. Keep your hands flat all the way. And then we'll stay down on our bellies. Okay, so we're headed for a quad stretch here. So bring your right arm in front of you, and you can either prop up on the elbow or you can rest your forehead down. It's a little more mellow. So choose your option. Straighten your right leg straight back all the way through the ankle and the toes, and then bend your left leg and reach back for your foot. A little half frog moment. Try to lower your outer left hip a little heavier to the floor. Bend your back elbow straight up towards the sky to get that pull across the front of the quad to get that stretch. And then if you feel like you need more, if and only if you feel like you need more, just ever so gently lift your ribs like they could rise away from the floor. Like those low ribs could scoop up and away like ice cream scoop. Try to balance your inhale with your exhale. All right, without springing, gently release that side. We'll go the other way. Left arm across, right leg in. Try to get that left leg straight back behind. Right elbow bends up towards the sky. And then if you feel like you want a little more juice here, the action is like a crunch. It's like a fighting the back bend. The ribs feel like they could lift up off the ground. They might actually even lift a little bit, especially if you're propped up on that elbow. And see what that does, how that little action has a big impact in the feeling of that quad. One more big inhale. Fill up the back of the ribs. And then exhale, lower down. Relax. You can just make a pillow with your head with your hands for a second, or turn your head to the side and just relax everything. Just rest on the ground, like lay yourself on the ground. Another moment to check in, to see how you're doing. We're about halfway through. Just to see what this experience is. Bring it in. Okay. So from here, let's head into bow pose. And if you're not a fan of bow pose, you can do locust, which I will show in just a second. For bow pose, you'll bend the knees and reach back for both feet, like we just were. Get strong in the ribs, so get that same sense, like you could scoop the ribs up off the ground and then keep that strength, lift your chest, your arms, your legs. If holding the feet is too much, you can do it with arms back, legs straight in locust. It's a great option instead. Think shoulders up, back of the neck long, belly a little stronger every time you breathe out. One more inhale, get a little more lift, a little more reach, and then exhale, lower down, turn your head the other way. You can make a pillow with your hands again if you want, and just sway your hips from side to side. Let your breath wash over you like waves across the beach. And now let's press back into child's pose. Plant your hands, press your hips up and back. Just rest your forehead on the ground or on your arms. Just take a second to find a sense of settle again. Like you could visualize the backs of the knees soften a little more. The fronts of the hips soften and fold a little deeper. All right, and then let's make our way up to a little kneeling place. Another great moment for a little sip of water if you need. My knees are really picky, so I am going to be on a blanket, so you can grab something if you need. And if you have if you're on a mat, you can face like the long side of your mat. Okay, so first thing, let's do a little side stretch. So let's bring the right hand down and the left leg straight out. So your back foot's kind of like side angle, like warrior 2, and you have a straight line from your right hand through your knee to your back foot, and then reach your top arm straight up towards the sky. Nice. So like a little side plank variation. So see if you can have the feeling of like being in a side plank. So your right hand is really heavy, your back foot is really strong and flat into the floor, and then arc your hips up towards the ceiling. Stay right here, or you can turn your whole arm in and drape it over your ear, just like in side angle. Nice. Reach your hand away from your back foot. And just a little bit, can you draw your front ribs down towards your hips? Nice. Stay just like this, or lift your leg off the ground, parallel to the floor. Turn your toes directly side. Spin your chest a bit more up. We got one more breath here. Make it big and beautiful. And then release your foot. Swing your arm down and in front to come all the way up, and we'll go to the other side. Finding a straight line from wrist to knee to foot, And then a right arm up towards the sky. Feel the feeling of side plank. Like get as strong as you would need to be in side plank. Feel the ribs and the belly strong. And then arc the hips up towards the ceiling. Stay just like this, or turn your arm in and drape your arm low. So your palm points towards the ground over your head. Ribs down and away from the stretch of your hand. So it's like front of the ribs towards your hips. Stay just like this, or lift your foot off the ground. So your leg is parallel to the floor. The toes point directly side. How smooth can your breath be? How strong can that right leg be? Let it hold itself up. And then sweep your arm down and in front to come back to both knees. Okay, I'm gonna face side, but you can stay just where you are. I'm gonna face side just so you can see. Let's bring the hands back to the ribs like we did in our first lunge. You can remember back to 30 minutes ago. Hold on to your ribs so your thumbs are behind and your fingers are in front. And then do just kind of like a cat-cow, just to feel. As you lift your chest, then the ribs open in the front, yeah? And if you were to round the other way, you can use your thumbs to help like pick up your ribs in the back. But just go back and forth a couple times just to feel the movement of the ribs as you do these shapes. Okay, and then pause in the center. It's probably enough. Pause in the center. And then see if you can do the ribs up in the back and down in the front, and then get strong across your belly. Imagine like you're stretching saran wrap across your torso. So it's not about sucking the stomach in, but about stretching the muscles across in a really strong way. Okay, so this action is gonna hold as we'll go into like a little camel. So shoulders up, keep that saran wrap feeling in the belly as you lift your chest and send your eyes up towards the sky. Keep your thumbs on those back ribs and really boost them up like you're trying to pick your own self up out of your hips. Relax your shoulders and your neck here and just gaze gently up. Don't have to go straight up towards the sky. One more big breath here. And then inhale to rise, big breath in. Release your arms, point your toes, and just come to have a seat on your heels. Close your eyes and rest your hands on your thighs. And just let your breath flood in. And let the back bend flood out with your exhale. Okay, that's it for now right there, but we'll be back. Okay, let's come back to the first side of our little side plank variation. So right hand down, left leg behind. And then this time you keep your hand on your hip, lift your back leg up off of the ground. So if you didn't do this one before and this is your first entrance into it, you can just stay like this, or we can bend the back leg and reach your hand back for the outside of the foot. It's wobble town, I know, you can tuck the back toes underneath if you need. So you can feel that same thing we did, just now you're sideways. Ribs down in the front and up in the back. Bend your elbow and maybe start to kick that leg behind, like bow pose, but on your knee. Gorgeous. Eyes down to the floor can really help the balance if it's wobbly, or you can challenge yourself. Spin your gaze towards the sky. Are you still breathing? Nice and generous with your breath. It's such a gift. Give it generously. All right, my loves, don't spring out of it. Just gently release, big reach, arm up, leg out. Good. And then we'll sweep down to go to the other side. That looks good from here. Left hand down, right leg back, right leg to the hip, right hand to the hip. And then you'll lift the back leg up, turn the toes directly side. This is a great place to work. Try to stabilize those hips and stabilize that breath. Or bend the leg and reach back for the outer foot. Smooth the ribs down in the front and pick them up out of the hips in the back, and maybe start to kick that leg back. Puff the chest up and forward. Good. Spinning your gaze up towards the sky as you would like the challenge. Nice. We'll get one more big reach before we land down. Leg out, arm up, big extension. And then close it off, and we're heading back to downward dog. Take your time. Plant your hands. Either hang out in dog or tabletop or do a joining vinyasa, like a little rinse cycle. Inhale, plank. Exhale, stay strong all the way down. Point the toes, do cobra or upward dog. Press the toenails down. And then slide it back. Downward dog. Smoothing, soothing breath here. Fingertips heavy, toe tips heavy, but outer hips high, like up on a diagonal behind without straightening the legs. So keep the legs bent and then reach those hips up. It's like a small, internal, subtle movement. All right, without swaying the hips too much from side to side, let's walk the hands all the way back to the feet. Just hang here for a moment in your forward fold, leaning a little bit into those toes so you're not falling too far back. And then we'll inhale, come all the way up, arms up, chest up, eyes up, big extension. Exhale, arms down by your sides. Just close your eyes for a moment and just feel your feet beneath you, your skeleton stacked, bones all the way up to the top of the head. Just take a moment to feel the moving stuff inside, the movement of your breath, of your heartbeat, the more subtle feeling of the energy coursing through your body. And then if you did close your eyes, we'll gently blink them open. All right, so we're gonna do one balancing one now. You're welcome to be close to a wall or some furniture or something if your balance is a little shaky. Better to have the support and not need it. So let's start standing on the right leg and we'll cross the left ankle over into a figure four. So cross your ankle over and sit back like you're sitting in a chair. Nice. So hand on the wall, perfectly fine. Trying to get a stretch in the outer hip. It's also a balance, so you get a little too far. Press your ankle and your knee into each other like you're trying to hold something slippery between them and flex that top foot. Good, you can stay just like this or to add a little bit to it, bring your hands, interlace your hands behind your head. Draw your ribs up like we've done before. Keep that and then press your head into your hands. You almost, you get a little lift in the chest. Hips down, ribs up, head back. Good. Sink a little lower in those hips for your last 2 breaths. Good, and then gently step down, 2 feet on the floor, breathe in. Open your mouth, exhale. Good, we'll do the other side. Right ankle over. Hands to the hips to start is a great place. And just sit the hips back and just get established in that outer hip stretch. Flex the ankle so the knee is protected. And press your ankle and your knee like front to back into each other, right where they connect. Good. Stay just like this or hands behind the head. A little more challenge. Hips down, ribs up, and then head back. You can give just a little resistance with your hands and notice what that does. Just a little bit. You don't want to like yank on your neck, but see what just a little bit does for the experience. Hips a little lower for your last 2 breaths. We're almost there. And then gently step down, 2 feet on the floor. Breathe in. Open your mouth, exhale. Good. Shake out your hips as you need to. Shake out your shoulders. Let's come back to the front of our space. We'll make our way back to downward dog. So feel your feet on the ground. Really feel them. Feel every cell that's touching the floor. Inhale, reach your arms up. Extend your chest, look up. Exhale, fold forward over soft or even very bent legs. Let's do one halfway lift here. Slide your hands up, bring your spine parallel to the floor. Just halfway up. And then exhale, fold back in. Stepping back, either straight back to downward dog, gauge your energy, or go to plank pose. Lowering down through low plank, cobra, or upward facing dog. And then heading back to tabletop or downward dog. Smooth, steady, gentle in your breath, strong in those hips, but heavy in the feet. Let your heels rest towards the floor without straightening the knees. All right, let's come to a pigeon pose here. So right shin forward across the front of your mat and a little diagonal. So your knee comes kind of towards your wrist. It doesn't go straight in front, but it's a little bit out. And then you can wiggle your back leg back a little bit. Let's keep the toes tucked underneath for today. So you can feel your heel is straight up towards the sky. It's not going out or in. And then take a big breath in. Lift your back ribs up. And exhale, elbows to the ground. This is not a knee stretch. So if you're getting any pain in your knee, which is not uncommon, you can lay on your back instead and do figure four. Cross your right ankle over your left knee like we did standing. And just pull your knees in. Try to keep that back heel straight up towards the sky. It feels a bit like you have to squeeze in for most of us. And then see how much can you relax your shoulders, your chest, softening right between those shoulder blades. That place gets so like sneaky tense back there. One more generous breath. And then let's build our way back up onto our hands. We'll stay here in the pigeon for a little thigh stretch. So move your left hand out to the side. So it's not right under your shoulder. You kind of lean it out to the left. Right hand to your thigh. Back ribs up just a little bit and twist your chest to the right. Now that might be enough. That really kind of amplifies the stretch on that front of the left hip. You can totally stay just like this, or you can bend the leg. That's like next option. Flex your foot, squeeze your heel in. Or if it's easy to just reach back and carefully grab that foot, the inner foot, you can totally go for that. Think back of the ribs up, shoulder blades together. Back of the ribs up, shoulder blades together. If you're really happy here and you want to come down onto your front elbow, you can kind of lean a bit forward and bring your elbow down. But listen to your body. Breathe with yourself, not against yourself. That back leg, if you're holding it, might be a little springy, so maybe lean forward a bit to let it go, and then we'll go back through downward dog or tabletop to switch sides. Once you get to your neutral place, just let your right leg kind of settle. Almost like the pose, the pigeon pose can drain out through the sole of your foot down to the ground. And we'll go the other way, please. Left shin forward. Knee right behind your wrist. You scoot your back leg back just a little bit, but keep those toes tucked underneath. Inhale, ribs up. Exhale, onto your elbows. Good. Feeling free to come into figure four on your back. If your left knee is giving you any pain or any twinginess, it's not worth hurting the knee to try to stretch the hips, I promise. Try to keep that back heel straight up. It might feel like squeezing it in just like a 1/4 inch. Just coaxing a gentle opening into the side of that hip. Nothing too intense. Never demanding a shape be met. And then let's ease our way back upright onto the hands. You move your right hand a little bit out so it's not right underneath your shoulder. Left hand to your thigh. Back ribs up, front ribs down to twist your chest to the left. So this is option one. This is so nice to just stay right here. I love this. Or you can bend the back leg, flex your foot, and kick your heel in. Or deepest, reach your left hand back for the inner foot. Still thinking back of the ribs up and then shoulder blades together. So you don't lift up so much in the back of the ribs that you collapse in the front, right? It's just for strengthening. If you want to come down to that front elbow, you can kind of lean a bit forward so that the elbow comes right under the shoulder. very sweetly, let's make our way back to downward dog, to a neutral place. Tuck the toes, plant the hands, and scoop the left foot back to meet the right. Soften the knees to tip the tailbone up. Let your left leg feel like it almost could drain out. All right, my dears, let's bring our knees back down to the ground. We're back to camel land. So pad your knees if you'd like. So we're just gonna do one more camel. I don't wanna like totally overcook us. We're just gonna do one more. So you don't have to like hold back at all. If you wanna just go for it, you can go for it. Let's do toes tucked underneath, and you can do it exactly the same way that we did before with the hands onto the ribs, or you can go back a little further. So we'll start all together, hands on the ribs. Lift the back ribs up with the thumbs. I'm doing this action with my hands. Back ribs up, front ribs down, but then shoulder blades squeezing together on the back. Saran wrap strength on the belly and the front, and then lift your chest up, away from that strength. It doesn't diminish, it just changes what it looks like. Use your thumbs still to keep those back ribs boosting up out of the waist. Stay just like this, or bring one hand down and the other hand down to your awaiting heels. Ribs up in the back, down in the front. So there's this work of cat pose even in the back bend. Just a little bit, tuck your chin in like a double chin to lay your head back, if it feels okay. We'll be here for one more big breath. Drink it in. Get stronger in your exhale, and we'll come up with the inhale. Push down into your knees. Come up, point your toes, and have a seat on your heels. Close your eyes, rest your hands on your thighs, relax your shoulders. Drink your breath and pour it out. And you can open those eyes and come to have a seat with your legs out in front of you. Move your little cushion to the side, or you can sit on it if you want. If you're feeling really tight, you know, your body's on the tighter side, you can totally sit that cushion underneath your hips. Okay, so let's keep the left leg straight in front and bend the right leg in. So it's kind of like a tree pose. We're heading towards Janu Shirshasana. Look at your left foot and feel that the toes are flexed straight up towards the sky, and then bring your hands on either side of that straight leg. Inhale, little twist towards the leg, and then start to walk your hands out on either side of your leg. Just until you get some stretch for your back, maybe for that front hamstring. Now use your hands to help slide your belly button, and your ribs more towards your left, like you're trying to sweep across your thigh by pushing your fingers down into the floor and dragging them across. You can go even deeper with this. Bring your right hand to your outer shin, ankle, or foot to help pull your torso more across to your left. Settle your right hip down a little heavier and breathe into your right side, into that low back. Make some more space there with your breath, like carving out some space. All right, and then staying strong in the legs, walk yourself back up. And very simply, we'll go to the other side. Right leg out, left leg in, hands on either side of the leg. On fingertips is great because it takes, gets a little strength into the shoulders subtly. Spin a little bit towards your legs, sit up a little taller. Inhale, and then exhale, walk your hands out on either side of the leg. A little bend in the elbows can be nice here. It just gives you, again, a little bit more, subtlety in how you're using your muscles in this pose. Keep that the right foot flexed, and ever so gently sweep your belly button, your ribs across to the right. Almost like you could sway your torso that way. Stay just like this, or you can take your left hand to your outer shin, ankle, or foot, and use that connection as well to help turn your torso more to the right. Make sure the left hip is as heavy as it can be, and breathe into that opening on that left low back. Good. Staying strong in the lower body. Gently walk your hands upright. Now let's come to lie down on our backs. Take your time. We're gonna lay down on our backs for the rest of class. So if you wanna turn down your lights or adjust your environment in preparation for Shavasana, or have a blanket handy, whatever you need, your socks, I don't know. So when you lie down, pull your knees into your chest, either in front of your shins or you can hold on behind your thighs. Just take a second for some settling. Let your spine melts down into the ground. You can rock a little bit or make little circles, maybe even circle your ankles, your toes. And then we're gonna head towards 2 bridge poses. Because we've been pretty heavy on the back bends today with our focus on camel. These can be really subtle. So it's not today about pushing your hips as high as you can, but about opening up the fronts of the thighs. I think you'll hopefully understand what I mean once we get into it. So start with your arms robot style. So elbows down, like you're holding a beach ball right on top of your belly. The hands go up towards the sky. Gently snuggle your shoulder blades together and feel that your heels are under your knees and your toes are straight forward. Press your elbows down, the backs of your armpits down, your whole feet down, and then lift your hips off the ground. Just a couple inches. Doesn't have to be super duper high. Okay, all those places, repress them down. Shoulders, elbows, feet. Even lift your chin and lean your head back. And then see if you can squeeze your heels in like they're trying to slide towards your hips to get a little bit more extension in the front of the hip flexors. It should feel real nice here. Nothing too strong. One more inhale. And then exhale, land your hips to the ground. Go wide with your feet. Lean your knees against each other and put your hands on your belly. Just close your eyes. Feel your breath beneath your hands. Rest your knees against each other. Okay, we'll do one more of those bridge poses. Narrow your feet a bit. If you felt like having the elbows on the ground was your jam, you can totally do that. Or you can go straighter with the arms, maybe coming to an interlace. Press your hands, elbows, arms down, your feet down, your head down, and then lift your hips off the ground. If you're walking the hands together underneath the back, it's shoulder blade in. Then you grab the hands, walking the shoulders and arms in as much as you need to. Feel like you can wrap the shoulders back and down into the floor. And then we'll do the opposite with the legs. Instead of squeezing the heels in, push the feet down and forward. It might help get a little boost into the hips, but again, try not to max it out. It's nice and subtle. Push your feet forward, lift your chin high. Breathe your fullest, kindest breath. If your hands are interlaced, use an inhale to open them. Everyone, exhale, hips down, feet wide, knees in, hands on your belly. Close your eyes. Breathe your breath. And then let's bring the arms out into a little cactus shape like we did in Warrior 2. Pick up your hips and slide them 3 or 4 inches to your left. Without moving your feet, let your knees fall to the right. So just like a little open twist. Nice and easy here. Rest your left shoulder down into the ground. Even like the left side of the back of your head can get a little heavier towards the earth. And then see if you can breathe a little fuller breath into your belly. Almost like you could stretch your belly when you breathe in. And let it descend as you breathe out. And let's go to the other side, please. Knees up, hips to the right, knees fall to the left. Right shoulder heavy, right side of the head heavy. Breath big into the belly. Such a soothing way to breathe, which you can exaggerate and let it be like a belly stretch. Inhale, like you could stretch the muscles with your breath. And let's bring the knees and hips and everything back through center. And then give yourself one more hug. Last moment here in practice before we head to Shavasana. Just get whatever final things you need. You can circle the knees around. You can take happy baby or a moment in Baddha Konasana with the soles of the feet together. Just anything you need. And then as you're ready, one foot and then the other down to the ground. Extend your arms out by your sides and let your legs go straight out in front. Allow your toes to flap out to the sides, and then adjust your shoulders, your neck, and your head so that you can be as comfortable as possible. Laying on your back is not comfortable for everyone, so if that's you, you can choose to sit instead, or you can do this feet flat, knees in that we did before. It sometimes makes lying on the back a bit more doable. Wherever you are, let's see if you can just try to commit to stillness for the next 2 minutes. Nothing super long. This moment here at the end of practice, so valuable for the body to process all of the experiences. And also to practice rest, really intentional rest. Trying to let your bones become a little heavier. The bones of the feet, the legs, the pelvis, spine, ribs, arms, and head. Letting your muscles relax on top of those heavy bones. And see if your skin can feel like it softens too. Heavy bones, relaxed muscles, and soft skin. Like you could blur your edges. Feel like every pore can breathe in. And every pore can breathe out. Gently begin to move your fingers and your toes a little bit, breathing a little deeper. Bend your knees, put your feet flat on the floor, and stretch your arms overhead. Get a big yawning action, and then roll onto your side so that you can press yourself up to a seated position. Similar to how we started, you can sit cross-legged or kneeling and bring your hands in front of your heart. Close your eyes or gaze softly, gently onto the floor in front of you. And as we find ourselves here at the end of practice, we check in again, this time to feel the impact of our practice. Feel the impact of these movements, these thoughts, and these breaths. And you check in and you see what worked, and you make space and understanding for things that didn't, so that we can move forward with more knowledge, more care, more love. To honor our hard work, our time here together, and these spaces that hold us and keep us safe. Let's close by sharing one more breath together. Please exhale to prepare. And then welcome a deep breath in. Let it go. Please bow your chin to your chest, thanking yourself one more time for all of your work, your effort, your energy, your grace. And then when you're ready, you can release your hands and open your eyes. Thank you guys so much for joining this evening. It was so nice to have you. My name is Katrina again.